This is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. We're on Xbox Series X taking a look at this classic Call of Duty experience. One of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely adored this one. Played it for way too many hours. Starting off with the single player, hopefully showing off the multiplayer. And yeah, so on the game, we are, well, basically inheriting that original release. It's like 600p. We've got 60 FPS, nice and fluid the whole way through. No auto HDR support, which is a little surprising, I have to say. I didn't anticipate that. And we're just kind of starting with the opening mission. A, it's pretty cool, and B, because for some reason I can't mission select past the opening despite having a resume option where I'm able to play the final level of the game. So, you know, that makes sense. And yeah, let's kind of roll in here. So obviously this is really what kicked the Call of Duty franchise into high gear. It defined shooters for still to this day. Many shooting games are based off of this, from the multiplayer to the single player action. You know, it really did change gaming considerably, from how multiplayer is handled to how we experience single player games in the modern era in regards to storytelling, you know, in FPS. It's just really quite a genre-defining experience, and it was also technically quite fascinating too. And yeah, just from everything from the perk system to the prestiging to the campaign style of the game to, you know, the characters, and you know, it spawned like a trilogy and then eventually a, I guess you could say, reimagined follow-up or something like that. I don't know what you would call Modern Warfare, but yeah, that's basically what happened. Is it's just kind of, it's a huge thing, and it really, you know, not only, like I said, kind of threw Call of Duty into the spotlight, also made Infinity Ward just this like huge, big deal industry-wise. And yeah, they just kind of upped it every single entry, and this was the one I most loved, just because it was so beautifully well done. It was so unlike anything I had played at the time, and it was kind of amazing because I didn't actually initially get into it as much because I loved Call of Duty 3. I really was into that one, and then I kind of got this one, and I was like, you know, oh, okay. And then, you know, once you start playing it, really playing, you're like, wow, this feels, it still feels great, but like this felt great. This was amazing. Like, as an experience, it was fast paced, it was gritty, it was dark. I spent so many hours playing it, you know, not only by myself against others online, but with like friends, and you know, spent a lot of time playing with my cousin as well. Back in the day, we had like a clan. We would play intensely in like search and destroy, and you know, headquarters was our like specialty, our speciality. But yeah, it's just kind of, you know, such a great time. And then you look at the story here, just the setup of it. It was so perfect for that moment in history, and then it also kind of built up to this super epic, action-packed sort of like set of finale. And you know, it kept getting bigger and bigger, and it's just crazy how like much this changed the industry, and how like wild everyone was in trying to like emulate something like this in the modern era. Because, you know, we had options obviously for all different types of war, but it was mostly like World War shooters that were like the big thing. And then this came, and then everyone was pumping out you know, Modern Warfare like games, right? It was just like crazy. It honestly was just the wildest of times. And then, you know, the different difficulty options, the collectibles in the form of intel. This really did leave quite a mark, and I think it just absolutely delivered some great times, some challenging moments, and unique setups the whole way through. It's just a great game. It truly is. And then obviously, you know, you got some like genre-defining levels that I think to this day are fantastic, like Gillies in the Mist, and you know, it's just wild. I guess also the one where you're like dealing with a tank is kind of fairly memorable, but and then yeah, some other moments I won't talk about because you don't want to spoil them. And then things kind of went further with the follow-ups, and then eventually, you know, we obviously got Modern Warfare Remastered, and I didn't think people would be, you know, wanting to see this original version, but, you know, I was like, yeah, okay, you know what, we're doing it. because I really, really love this game. It is one of my all-time favorites, and it was like, I actually couldn't even find where this was. I was like, where's my Call of Duty 4 disc? And it was like in a collector's edition, so Modern Warfare 2 or whatever, I had put it there. But yeah, it's just, it's kind of wild. Now, obviously, you know, it's a little bit lower res in terms of like being fairly jagged around the edges and spots, but it's still smooth, like super, super smooth. And it still looks, you know, to me really quite good. And, you know, I know the textures aren't quite as fancy, but it's got like this really gritty sort of dark look for that era that just matches things perfectly. So I'm very much, you know, thrilled that I'm still able to enjoy the game, still able to engage with it, and still able to have so much fun just hopping back in here and feeling like nothing happened. Like, I'd say almost that everything that's followed it Call of Duty wise has felt like too smooth gameplay, whereas this has like a nice sort of like jaggedy kind of feel to it. Not you know, the visuals are kind of jaggedy, but I'm saying just like it's almost kind of sluggish in how you shoot, and that makes it feel a little bit more kind of realistic to me as well. It doesn't feel as like fine-tuned as the later ones are, and to me that's like a, you know, a big thing. And then the score, and just like this opening level is so crazy. I was like, wow, you know, like you just haven't played anything quite like this before, and it just really set the stage for so much that came after it. And then you play Modern Warfare Remastered, and that one's great too. I quite love that because I love this so much. But there's just something about this original style of it that still holds up beautifully today, which is kind of insane if you think about it, because it's old, and it's just a very old title now. And you've seen a lot of things come since, and it's like there's still something about the nostalgia, maybe it's just the style of gameplay that I think is really well put together, and the physics of objects, and then the setup of the missions and what you're doing on it. It's just ultra epic. Like, I mean, this is a crazy way to start your game, right? Like, I don't remember too many insane openings in games that were quite like this at the time. It's, you know, really, really cool to see. And then obviously on the platform, things like load super fast. And it had those really cool kind of like cinematic story moments that were in between levels. I thought those were really neat and kind of set the stage for what they were doing in this one. Infinity War presents Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. And eventually we gotta drop the title, am I right? Or, well, the number title, which is interesting. But yeah, it just kind of like loads up, and you're good to go. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that kind of nuts? I don't know. It was fast back in the day, but there's something about it just like throwing you right into things super fast, which is nice if you don't want to watch, like, you know, the cinematic parts, but I feel like those add quite a lot to what this is. But with that, we're going to see if we can play some multiplayer, because, you know, that's sort of fun as well. Alright, well, I wasn't able to find a match of multiplayer here. I did want to mention that I am maxed out prestige-wise, and I've got like 20 days in the multiplayer or whatever, and yeah, I thought Shipment might be a fun map to kind of show off. I don't know why, because it's tiny, so there's not a whole lot to it, but you know, it's just kind of a fun nostalgia trip trying to do like search and destroy on this map, and it was like, yeah, it was not the best for stuff. But also like the backdrops in that, like really static image in that, and yeah, you know, there's something about the visuals that still for me hold up, but I can definitely see a lot of the flaws and, you know, some of the more jagged edges and stuff as it's been blown up to the, you know, the bigger screen here, which is a shame. But we do have remastered where it's upgraded. I just wish I could have found players to show this off with, and yeah, it's kind of a little disappointing, but I had so many good memories here. You know, doing different like scenarios and different setups, using my claymores, using Martyrdom, and going after I've died. Yeah, it's just, it was a very interesting game, you know. It had so many intense moments, so many intense matches and competition and stuff like that. It was truly a unique experience. But yeah, look at those like really obviously flat backdrops. Like that skybox is like just atrocious, but you know, when you're battling you don't really notice it. It's got enough 3D around that you don't really ever do that. Can I change? Yeah, spectator was always cool. I don't know if people ever jumped into this, but this is where you could actually like go off and take a look outside the map and see what like the actual scope was of it. So it's like fairly detailed close up, right? But you look on the outside here and it's like, yep, that is one ugly skybox. Like that is weird looking at it like that. You know, there's something off-putting about that style of it. But then, strangely enough, they've got like boxes and that over here. I don't know. It was always weird. It was just kind of like a thing mostly to show off. Was just like you go to spectator mode. I don't think a lot of the later Call of Duty games offered that. You know, the fact that you could kind of look outside the maps and details like this. Because I was always like, is there something cool hidden back here? And yeah, not normally. But I have like cool classes. They must have done something weird with the multiplayer though, because yeah, all my class names are off, and it seems like matchmaking is a bit weird on this one. But you actually had to like earn your gun skins, getting headshots. You know, you had to level up. You had to prestige. The prestige system was, you know, a big innovation here, alongside the perk system and the custom class system. Yeah, again, so many like defining elements of modern multiplayer are possible just due to the efforts in this Call of Duty game. It's sort of nuts to think about, quite honestly. But we should switch to another map, I guess, and show off a little bit more of what the multiplayer had available. And it's just, it's disappointing not to be able to jump in and play with other people, because it's, you know, to show off the action properly is just a lot of what this experience is to me. I guess Crash would be the other iconic one, and then we got the bonus maps. You know, the broadcast center is a little bit lazy. They re-brought that back in Modern Warfare. Chinatown was cool. Kill House was neat. This, I think I really liked Creek. I thought that was a really cool map. Vacant, absolute classic. You'll see so many of these maps like remade in later games, you know, in the Call of Duty franchise. It's just... yeah, I don't know. I'm just mostly disappointed. Oh yeah, the G3 with the you do some real damage with this gun. Yeah, it just had like a neat balancing of weapons. It had a cool setup for maps. It had nice tactical play. Spawn here, Claymore there, Claymore right here. I know, Claymore right here, and then you get people and they walk by and it goes gets them all and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about this game that I just absolutely loved. And I remember, like, I should have shown backlot. You can like jump out of the map, which is kind of entertaining. I think this one's got a cool spot where you can like, is it here that you can kind of jump up there? I can't remember where that is. Maybe it's like on the side there. You can kind of like jump up on stuff, which is sort of fun. I can't remember how you do that in this one. I don't know if it's like kind of climbing up here and then jumping up there. And I don't know. I can't do it. I'm trying to think of it. It's been a long time. It's mostly the nostalgia trip here, but yeah, such neat maps, such neat angles for using grenades and battling through on this one. They just really created something so unique. And then also the element of like shooting enemies like through a wall and stuff was like a big deal. You know, you could actually like decimate parts of like, well, not decimate, but you know, you could shoot through like cover and actually cause damage to people, which was a big part of like, you know, the game's multiplayer. Was like, whoa, we can kind of shoot guys through walls and stuff, and you know, like the sheet metal, it just really added an extra dimension to the experience that I thought was a lot of fun. And they had like Juggernaut, which was like so overpowered and cheap, and flashbangs were cheap too, and the M16 was overpowered, and yeah, so many great memories, that's for sure. Playing with friends and stuff, and I mean, everybody played this game back in the day that I knew. It was a big deal. It was a wild year, you know. We had Halo 3, we had Call of Duty 4. It was nuts. It was honestly just absolutely wild. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look at the classic Call of Duty 4. And yeah, it's still a great game if you want to play the campaign. But Modern Warfare Remastered, I think, is probably the best way to experience this at this current time, though. If you want you know, other people to compete against and you want more of a refined version of the game, but there's still something about this one that's just unreal.